What if I told you that the biggest threat to your independence after 55 isn't heart disease or even cognitive decline? It's something far more silent and far more preventable. It's muscle loss. Sarcopenia, the age loss of muscle mass and strength, begins as early as your 30s, but accelerates sharply after 55. And it doesn't just affect how you look or feel. It affects everything: your balance, metabolism, bone density, immune function, even your brain health. Here's the surprising part. According to research published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, up to 30% of adults over 60 suffer from sarcopenia. And most don't even know it until they fall, struggle to get out of a chair, or notice that tasks they once handled easily now leave them tired and sore. But here's the empowering truth. Building muscle after 55 is absolutely possible, and in many cases, it happens faster than people expect. Prevent issues like sleep apnea, muscle cramps, or allow the right fuel. And no, you don't need expensive supplements, exotic powders, or some celebrity meal plan. You need a few strategically chosen, scientifically supported, and surprisingly cheap foods. Foods that not only promote muscle protein synthesis, but also lower inflammation, optimize hormone function, and enhance recovery even overnight. In this episode, we'll break down 7 of these powerhouse foods, each one backed by compelling human data, and show you how to time and combine them for maximum effect. We'll look at why your muscle building signal gets weaker with age and how to flip it back on, the role of specific amino acids, micronutrients, and even food timing on lean mass retention, and simple eating habits that help you not only build strength, but preserve it for the long run. So if you're over 55, we're planning ahead, and you want to stay mobile, sharp, and strong, this video is for you. Let's explore the foods that are helping thousands of people rebuild their strength, one affordable bite at a time. Let's start with one of the most overlooked reasons older adults struggle to build muscle: the anabolic resistance of aging. When you were younger, your muscles responded to protein like a sponge. A modest amount of dietary protein would stimulate something called muscle protein synthesis, MPS, the biological process where your body builds new muscle fibers. But after age 55, that signal gets weaker. Research from the University of Birmingham shows that older adults require more of a specific amino acid, leucine, to trigger the same muscle-building response younger people get with less. So what's happening in your body? Leucine acts like the ignition key for a pathway in your cells called mTOR, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin. It's a central regulator of cell growth, including muscle. When leucine levels in your bloodstream reach a certain threshold, mTOR flips on and the muscle-building machinery kicks into gear. But here's the catch. Many older adults eat meals that are either too low in protein or too low in leucine specifically, which means they never fully trigger this pathway. Here's the empowering part. You can fix this easily with one of the cheapest, highest leucine whole foods available: eggs. Whole eggs, especially with the yolk, are one of nature's most complete muscle foods. One large egg contains about 0.5 grams of leucine, plus high-quality protein, vitamin D, choline, and healthy fats that support hormone production. But it's not just about the individual nutrients. A 2017 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that consuming whole eggs post-workout led to significantly greater muscle protein synthesis compared to eating egg whites alone, despite having the same amount of protein. The yolk seems to contain cofactors that enhance how your body uses amino acids. And unlike expensive powders or trendy supplements, a dozen eggs costs only a few dollars in most places, making them incredibly accessible. Here's a simple tool to apply. Within 1-2 hours of your resistance training session, or even a brisk walk if you're just starting out, eat a meal that includes 2-3 whole eggs paired with a fiber-rich carbohydrate like oats or vegetables. This gives your body the leucine to trigger mTOR, plus the glucose to shuttle those amino acids into muscle tissue more effectively. You might ask, What if I can't eat eggs or I'm watching cholesterol? Good question. While dietary cholesterol isn't the villain it was once thought to be, in fact, it's vital for testosterone and cell membranes, you can still get leucine from alternatives like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or even canned tuna. But eggs remain one of the most efficient and affordable options. Think of it this way. If you want to rebuild your muscle machinery, you need the raw materials, and eggs deliver them in the most bioavailable, cost-effective package nature has to offer. So instead of fearing muscle loss, start fueling muscle activation. It's not just about how much protein you eat. It's about sending the right signal with the right nutrients at the right time. And the good news? That signal is still very much alive in your body. It's just waiting for the right key. Let's move beyond protein, because even if you're hitting your target intake, your muscles won't grow if blood isn't flowing. This brings us to a second, lesser known, but critical pillar of muscle building after 55, oxygen delivery. Here's the science. Your muscle cells require oxygen and nutrients to recover, grow, and perform. But with age, our blood vessels tend to stiffen. And endothelial function, the ability of blood vessels to dilate and deliver oxygen efficiently, begins to decline. Fortunately, the body has a built-in amplifier for blood flow called nitric oxide. It's a molecule your body produces that relaxes blood vessels, enhances circulation, and helps shuttle nutrients to working muscles. But here's where it gets fascinating. The production of nitric oxide is directly influenced by the foods you eat, particularly those rich in natural nitrates. And one of the most powerful, affordable nitrate sources you can eat? Beets. Yes, the humble beetroot. Roasted, boiled, powdered, or juiced, this root vegetable has been studied extensively for its ability to enhance blood flow, increase exercise performance, and even improve muscle efficiency. In fact, a 2015 study in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that older adults who consumed beetroot juice before exercise experienced a 38% improvement in muscle power output. That's a massive difference. And it occurred without any change to their training routine. What's happening in your body when you consume beets? Nitrate from the beets is converted into nitrite by bacteria in your saliva. Then it becomes nitric oxide in your blood, relaxing blood vessels and allowing for better oxygen delivery to your muscles. This means you get more out of every rep, every walk, every movement. Here's a simple tool to apply. Drink 1/2 to 1 cup of beetroot juice or eat 1 small roasted beet 1 to 2 hours before physical activity, especially strength training or long walks. To keep it affordable, you can also buy plain canned beets, rinse off the brine, and add them to salads or smoothies. If you're not a fan of the taste, consider blending them with a bit of citrus. The vitamin C not only helps with flavor, but also aids nitric oxide production. Now, if you've ever felt lightheaded, slow, or unusually tired during exercise, even with enough sleep and food, poor circulation may be part of the reason. Beets can help solve this from the inside out. You may be wondering, will this work if I have high blood pressure or take medications? The answer is possibly yes, and safely. Several studies show that nitrate-rich vegetables like beets actually reduce blood pressure and improve vascular health in older adults. That said, always speak with your doctor if you're on medications that affect nitric oxide pathways. The big takeaway here is this: your muscles don't just need fuel, they need delivery. Imagine trying to build a house, but your delivery trucks are stuck in traffic. That's what happens when blood flow is restricted. Beets open the lanes. They get the tools to the job site. And when paired with resistance training and proper protein, like we covered in part 1, they help create the perfect storm for strength gains. By now, we've talked about triggering muscle growth with leucine and delivering nutrients more effectively with nitric oxide. But building muscle isn't just about activation, it's also about recovery. And one of the biggest roadblocks to recovery after 55, chronic low-grade inflammation. You may not feel inflamed, but research shows that as we age, Levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 and TNF-alpha gradually rise. This state of persistent, silent inflammation has a name, inflammaging, and it interferes with the body's ability to repair damaged muscle fibers after training. If recovery is incomplete, growth stalls and soreness, fatigue, and plateaus creep in. Now, here's what's truly fascinating. Certain foods can reduce this inflammation at the cellular level, especially after exercise, and help your body bounce back stronger. One of the most effective? Tart cherries, specifically Montmorency tart cherries, which are rich in anthocyanins, powerful plant compounds that have been shown to lower oxidative stress, reduce inflammation, and even promote better sleep. In a 2011 study published in the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine and Science and Sports, researchers found that athletes who consumed tart cherry juice for 7 days had significantly less muscle soreness and faster strength recovery compared to those who drank a placebo. What's happening in your body when you train, especially with resistance or eccentric exercises like walking downhill or lowering weights? Your muscle fibers experience micro T-tears. That's a good thing. But if inflammation runs unchecked, your immune system delays repair or overreacts, causing longer recovery windows. Tart cherries act as a kind of natural inflammation dimmer switch. They calm the response just enough to reduce damage without blocking the positive adaptations from exercise. And there's a bonus. These cherries also increase levels of melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle. Since deep sleep is where the majority of muscle repair occurs, this gives tart cherries a 2-for-1 benefit. Less inflammation, more recovery. Here's a simple tool to apply. Consume 1/2 to 1 cup of tart cherry juice or 1 to tablespoons of concentrate within an hour after your workout, or as part of your bedtime routine if you train in the morning. You can also buy frozen or dried tart cherries and mix them into oats or smoothies. If juice is too expensive or sugary, go with a concentrate and dilute it yourself. It's cost effective and delivers the same anti-inflammatory benefits. Now, some people ask, can't I just take ibuprofen? And the answer is you could, but NSAIDs like ibuprofen may actually inhibit muscle growth if taken too often after exercise. Tart cherries, by contrast, support recovery without disrupting adaptation. They work with your body, not against it. Think of them as nature's recovery drink, a way to help your muscles heal smarter, not just harder. Especially as we age, recovery becomes just as important as the workout itself, because without recovery, there is no progress. And when that recovery is powered by a natural, inexpensive food that also helps you sleep better and feel less sore, that's not just nutrition, that's leverage. So far, we've talked about protein to build, beets to deliver, and tart cherries to recover. Now let's talk about fuel. Because even if your muscles have the amino acids and oxygen they need, without sufficient energy, your body won't prioritize muscle growth. It will conserve, it will protect, it may even break down muscle tissue to meet fuel demands. This brings us to a misunderstood macronutrient that becomes critical after 55. Carbohydrates. Yes, carbs, but not the refined, ultra-processed kind that spike your blood sugar and crash your energy. We're talking about slow digesting, nutrient-dense complex carbs. And one of the cheapest, most versatile and powerful options is oats. Rolled oats, steel-cut oats, even plain instant oats without sugar. They're all rich in complex carbohydrates, soluble fiber, and beta-glucans that do 3 key things for muscle growth and performance. They replenish glycogen, the stored form of carbohydrate in muscle, which is essential for recovery and for fueling your next workout. They blunt cortisol, the stress hormone that rises with age and can accelerate muscle breakdown. They support insulin sensitivity, which allows your muscles to pull in amino acids more efficiently. Let's unpack that. Research from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism shows that older adults experience higher cortisol levels, especially in the evening. And high cortisol not only weakens muscle, it impairs sleep, blood sugar regulation, and even immune function. Here's what the research shows. A small serving of complex carbs like oats in the evening can actually lower nighttime cortisol and improve sleep quality, which, as we've discussed, is essential for muscle recovery. And because oats are high in soluble fiber, they support gut health, which plays a surprisingly large role in muscle function. Why? Because a healthy gut microbiome produces short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation, regulate hormones, and improve nutrient absorption. Here's a simple tool to apply. Eat 1/2 to 1 cup of cooked oats in the evening, ideally 2 to 3 hours before bed, paired with a protein source like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or whey protein. You can mix in cinnamon for blood sugar control and even some Tart cherries or walnuts for an anti-inflammatory boost. If you've been avoiding carbs out of fear of weight gain, know this: strategic carbs help protect your muscle, support your sleep, and lower catabolic stress hormones that rise with age. Without enough carbs, your body may convert protein into glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis, which means the protein you eat won't go to muscle, it will go to fuel. That's not an efficient use of your nutrition. This is especially important if you're training in the evening when you need both recovery nutrients and blood sugar stability through the night. A bowl of oats isn't just warm comfort food. It's a metabolic ally. It tells your body we're safe, we're fed, we can recover. We've now addressed how to stimulate muscle growth with protein, enhance blood flow, reduce inflammation, and provide steady fuel. But there's another silent force working behind the scenes that determines how much muscle you gain and how much you lose. It's something you feel when it's missing: micronutrient power. You see, muscles aren't built on macronutrients alone. They rely on key vitamins and minerals to activate the enzymes, electrical signals, and hormonal pathways that drive growth. One of the most overlooked, especially in adults over 55, is magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including protein synthesis, muscle contraction, nerve function, and energy production through ATP, the cellular currency of your body. But here's the problem. Studies consistently show that up to 50% of older adults are deficient in magnesium, especially those on medications like diuretics, proton pump inhibitors, or with diets low in leafy greens and legumes. When you're low in magnesium, you may notice muscle cramps or twitching, poor sleep, low energy, increased soreness after exercise, trouble relaxing, mentally and physically. That's because magnesium helps regulate calcium movement in and out of cells. And when this balance is off, muscles can contract too tightly and stay tense longer than they should. Magnesium also plays a key role in regulating testosterone and IGF-1, two hormones essential for maintaining and building lean muscle mass, especially as we age. So where can you get it? Affordably, one of the richest, cheapest, and most versatile sources is pumpkin seeds. 1/4 cup of roasted pumpkin seeds provides about 40% of your daily magnesium needs, plus zinc and healthy fats that support hormonal balance and immune health. You can sprinkle them on salads, mix them into yogurt, blend them into smoothies, or simply eat them by the handful. Here's a simple tool to apply. Consume 2 to 3 tablespoons of roasted pumpkin seeds daily, ideally with a meal that includes protein. Doing this in the evening may help you sleep more deeply thanks to magnesium's calming effect on the nervous system. Some research, including a 2020 paper in Nutrients, shows that combining magnesium with protein intake post-workout enhances muscle recovery and reduces perceived fatigue. Another advantage, magnesium can improve insulin sensitivity, helping your muscles more effectively absorb glucose and amino acids. That means better nutrient partitioning, more fuel to muscle, less stored as fat. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, training, eating enough, but still not recovering or seeing gains, magnesium deficiency could be the missing piece. It's like trying to run a high-performance engine with a dead spark plug. The fuel is there, but the fire never catches. A small handful of pumpkin seeds can relight that spark naturally, affordably, and powerfully. As always, check with your healthcare provider if you're on medications or have kidney issues, since magnesium is processed by the kidneys. But for most people, food-based sources like pumpkin seeds are not only safe, they're highly beneficial. Muscle is a nutrient-hungry tissue. It doesn't just need calories, it needs coordination, and micronutrients like magnesium are the conductors of that orchestra. Let's now bring everything together with a food that most people wouldn't expect to be a muscle-building ally, but the science is compelling. It's not a powder, it's not a supplement, and it costs less than $1 per serving. It's eggs, specifically whole eggs, not just the whites. For decades, we were told to fear the yolk, too much fat, too much cholesterol. But today, a growing body of research is overturning that belief, especially when it comes to muscle synthesis in older adults. In a 2017 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers found that consuming whole eggs post-exercise stimulated 40% more muscle protein synthesis than eating the same amount of protein from egg whites alone. Same protein, same calories, but radically different outcomes. Why? Because the yolk contains essential micronutrients like choline, vitamin D, B12, selenium, and cholesterol that act as cofactors for anabolic signaling. These nutrients enhance the way your muscles respond to amino acids. Cholesterol, for example, is a precursor to testosterone and other steroid hormones. And in older adults, having slightly higher, not lower, cholesterol is actually associated with better physical performance and resilience. Egg yolks also contain leucine, the key amino acid that triggers the mTOR pathway, the same one we discussed earlier with cottage cheese. But it's not just about triggering mTOR, it's about sustaining the signal. Whole eggs provide both the spark and the fuel. Now here's what the research shows. As you age, your muscle becomes less sensitive to anabolic signals. This is called anabolic resistance. It's one of the main reasons why older adults struggle to build or maintain muscle, even when they eat enough protein. But studies suggest that whole food sources rich in both amino acids and supporting nutrients may help overcome this resistance. And few foods do that better or more affordably than eggs. Here's a simple tool to apply. Eat 2-3 whole eggs, ideally within 1 to 2 hours post-workout, or as part of your first meal of the day. If you're combining them with a source of complex carbs like oats or sourdough toast, even better. That combination improves satiety, stabilizes blood sugar, and supports energy for the rest of the day. Worried about cholesterol? For most people, dietary cholesterol has minimal effect on blood cholesterol. In fact, a 2020 meta-analysis in BMJ found no significant link between moderate egg consumption and healthy adults. And in older populations, eggs were actually associated with improved HDL, good cholesterol, and better nutrient profiles. Of course, if you have familial hypercholesterolemia or a condition that alters lipid metabolism, talk to your doctor. But for the vast majority, whole eggs are not the problem. Lack of muscle is. And remember, muscle is protective. It improves insulin sensitivity, buffers against falls and fractures, boosts metabolic rate, and it sends a powerful biological message. This body is active, resilient, and not ready to shut down. Eggs, in their whole form, are one of nature's most complete muscle-building tools, and one of the cheapest. You can boil them, scramble them, poach them, or bake them into frittatas or muffins. What matters most? That they're on your plate regularly, intentionally, and paired with movement. Because ultimately, the foods you eat are not just calories, they are signals. And when you choose wisely, as you've now seen, you can send your body the clearest signal of all. Grow, repair, thrive. Let's recap what we've covered. Because by now, you've not only learned what to eat, but why it works and how to apply it. You've discovered that cottage cheese delivers slow digesting casein protein that stimulates overnight muscle repair especially powerful when combined with resistance training and quality sleep. Beets supercharge blood flow through nitric oxide production, enhancing nutrient delivery and exercise performance. Tart cherries fight inflammation, improve recovery, and naturally boost melatonin for deeper sleep, a crucial window for muscle growth. Oats provide sustained energy, reduce cortisol, and replenish glycogen, ensuring your muscles have fuel, not just building blocks. Pumpkin seeds deliver magnesium, a foundational mineral for hormone balance, protein synthesis, and deep recovery. Eggs, in their whole form, overcome anabolic resistance and deliver the complete package of amino acids and muscle signaling nutrients. And each of these foods is not only backed by science, they're affordable, accessible, and easy to integrate into your daily life. But here's the deeper insight I want to leave you with. After age 55, your body doesn't stop building muscle. Basically, it just stops responding to weak signals. And the foods you choose in both quality and timing are powerful signals. You're telling your brain, your muscles, your metabolism, we are active. We are rebuilding. We are not done yet. This shift from calorie counting to signal sending is the mental model that separates decline from growth. Because what's happening in your body is not just biological, it's behavioral. Every small choice compounds in both directions. You skip the protein, you signal breakdown. You fuel with intention, you signal growth. So here's a challenge. Pick one of the 7 foods we discussed and add it to your evening routine tonight. Whether it's a scoop of cottage cheese with berries, a handful of pumpkin seeds, or a warm bowl of oats with Greek yogurt, don't just think about change, practice it. And pay attention to how you feel tomorrow. Muscle is slow to build, but fast to reward you. With more strength, more energy, better sleep, improved blood sugar, sharper cognition, and a greater sense of agency over your own health. And that's really what this is about. Not vanity, not numbers on a scale. It's about building a body that can carry your mind with strength, clarity, and purpose into the decades ahead. You're not chasing youth. You're building capacity. And science, real, practical, empowering science, is your ally. If you found this valuable, I invite you to like this video, leave a comment with which food you're trying first, and subscribe to the channel. Each week, we dive deeper into tools like these, rooted in neuroscience, physiology, and behavioral change to help you optimize your mind, body, and life after 55. You're not alone on this path. This is a community of people who are choosing to grow, adapt, and thrive together. And we're just getting started.